How good is Cotus as an Enchantress commander? Let's take a look. Hello everybody and welcome back into the fort. My name is Tyler Saves Ya Bucks and I am here to do a quick Pillow 14 for Kotis, the Fangkeeper. This is based off of one of the recent articles I did for EDH Rec, so you can check out the full article right here, and I'm going to do this one a little bit faster than I normally do. Let's start off with Kotis, the Fangkeeper. 1 black, green, and blue for a zombie warrior. 2/1 indestructible, and then whenever it deals combat damage to a player, exile the top X cards of their library, where X is the amount of damage dealt. You may cast any number of spells with mana value X or less from among them without paying their mana cost. So a lot of people love this commander. It's one of the most played commanders of the year. And when I first saw it, I really liked it a lot as well. But the one thing I was thinking is when you're playing a bunch of other people's decks, that's a lot of variance. So I wanted to focus this deck a little bit more on Enchantress. That means putting as many enchantments on Cotus as possible to punch through damage and steal even more things. Also, Enchantress is a pretty common archetype, so you might have another player out there who's doing a similar thing that you can go and grab their stuff. So with this in mind, let's look at how Kotis can punch through damage, starting off with one of the best auras in the deck, Favor of the Overbeing. 1 and Hybrid Simic. For an aura, as long as it's green, the creature gets +1/+1 in vigilance, and then as long as it's blue, it gets +1/+1 and flying. So that's a 2 buff to Kotus's power, plus evasion, plus you can leave Kotus back as a blocker. Very, very good just for 2 mana. It's an all-star in the deck, and that's why I brought it up first, just to kind of give you guys the idea of what this deck will look like. Next up, we have Canopy Cover, also 2 mana aura. Enchant creature, it can't be blocked by creatures with flying or can't be blocked except by creatures with flying or reach. So basically it has flying, and then enchanted creature can't be the target of spells or abilities your opponents control. So basically hexproof. 2 mana for evasion and that protection. Very, very nice. It is hovering around the $3 mark, so it is a little expensive. There's some other cards in my Arca deck that I put in the maybe board that you could possibly go to instead of this, but this card is just so good in this deck for that rate. Another great card that also gives protection, Fey Flight. 1 and a blue, flash, enchant creature. When it enters the battlefield, enchanted creature gains hexproof until end of turn, and then enchanted creature gets +1/+0 and has flying. So not only does this block a Swords to Plowshares from one of your opponents, but it also gives that flying and a little bit of a power boost in order for you to then fly over, hit someone for even more damage. And this is a good time to say you can still fill this deck with other ways to pump Kotus, even combat tricks like a Giant Growth for 1 mana giving +3. You can fill it with this, but it's nice to have a good base like this with 14 good enchantments or enchantment matter cards that then point you in that direction. Let's keep going in the direction with Demonic Embrace. Now this gives a big power boost as well as flying and turns Cotus into a demon. 3 mana, and it gives it +3/+1, has flying, and is a demon in addition to its other types. And then you can cast it from your graveyard by paying 3 life and discarding a card in addition to paying its other costs. So it just gives a little bit of a buffer in case somehow this goes away, you can get it back. And that evasion +3, hitting somebody possibly for 5, stealing 5 cards, it is a very good card in this deck. Another great card in the deck, which is an all-time classic, is Rancor. 1 mana for +2 to the power and trample. And as many of you might know, when Rancor goes to the graveyard from the battlefield, you put it right back into your hand. So this is something, if you have early game, you kind of know that you're going to be able to buff your commander as well as giving it that trample basically for the rest of the game. Love Rancor. Ether Tunnel, which is 2 mana for an aura. Enchanted creature gets +1/+0 and can't be blocked. So in case you don't care, you know, to deal with flying blockers or to try and trample over like we have been talking about, this card right here gets rid of blocking altogether and for only 2 mana. Not the worst rate. Security Bypass also gets through blockers easily. 2 mana enchanted creature. When it attacks alone, it can't be blocked. And this deck, you're most likely going to be attacking alone with Cotus because, let's face it, any type of Voltron deck usually is a little all in. And then when this creature deals combat damage to a player, it connives. So that's, you discard a card, draw a card, or you draw a card, then discard a card. If you discard a non-land card this way, you put a counter on it. So this can help grow Cotus as well as sculpt your hand a little bit. Fly. What do you think it does? It's 1 mana. It lets your creature fly, but also when it deals combat damage to a player, you venture into the dungeon. I'm not going to go too into dungeons right now, but it is just another way for only 1 mana to give more evasion and then in turn get some more benefits when it hits, and you can look into some of the dungeons yourself. I suggest Lost Mine of Fandelver. See, this is why I didn't want to talk about it. Moving on to an old card, Sleeper's Robe. This is a blue and a black for an aura. The creature can't be blocked by artifact creatures and or black creatures, which is basically fear. And then whenever enchanted creature deals combat damage to a player, an opponent, you may draw a card. So again, getting some benefit and giving more evasion. In this deck, there's probably going to be some times where you just can't attack into somebody. And this gives you a way to kind of pick off a few people from the board and just focus on 1 player. Combat Research is a 1 mana aura that has enchant creature, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card, like we just talked about. But also the enchanted creature, if it's legendary, gets +1/+1 and ward 1. Little bit more protection and a little bit of a boost if you already have all of these ways to give it evasion. Next up, we have Wellrested, which is 2 mana for an aura. Enchanted creature has, whenever this creature becomes untapped, you do put 2 1/1 counters on it. Then you gain 2 life and draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. So, of course, we talked about the very first card that gives a vigilance, but most of the time, Cotus will attack and then untap on your turn. And this is a nice little way to make sure it gets a little bit bigger. You gain a little bit more life because people are probably going to come after you because you're stealing their stuff. And then also draws you an additional card on your turn just to give you more options. Strong Back is 3 mana, keeping with the Fallout theme here. This is, it lets you equip things to the enchanted creature for 3 less, but also aura spells you cast that target the enchanted creature cost 3 less, which is very nice. And then the enchanted creature gets +2/+2 for each aura and equipment attached to it. That could be massive. If you are able to smack in for 10 damage, say, that could just swing the game in your favor for the rest of the match. So Strong Back is really, really good. And also the equipment thing shouldn't be overlooked. Maybe you do throw a couple equipment into this deck, but also if you're stealing other people's cards, you might be able to, you know, grab somebody else's sort of, or, you know, some random equipment that they have in the deck that you can just grab, and then you're able to slap it on for basically free. Giant Inheritance. So if you don't want to be nickel and diming, hitting in for a little bit of damage here and there, this is a big way to punch through damage. 5 mana, and the creature gets +5/+5, and whenever it attacks, create a monster roll token attached to 1 target attacking creature. So normally you're going to give it to Cotus, and then it's kind of like Rancor. If it's put into the graveyard from the battlefield, you return it to your hand. So again, it just keeps coming back over and over. And the monster roll token gives the creature +1/+1 and trample. So again, you know, if you're not able to punch through even with all the flying and whatever else, this will give you even more damage to just hit. And then as you keep attacking, if you steal some creatures, you can give them monster roll tokens as well. So Giant Inheritance I am a big fan of. And then last on the list, we have Entity Tracker. This is a card that is not an aura, but it benefits you from all these auras we were just talking about. But 3 mana, flash, 2/3. Whenever an enchantment you control enters, and whenever you fully unlock a room, draw a card. So what's cool about this is obviously all the cards we've talked about will draw you a card when Entity Tracker is out. But also if Cotus hits somebody, let's face it, enchantments are very common in the game. And if Cotus hits somebody, you might get some enchantments from them. Say, looking at Giant Inheritance and you're hitting somebody all the way through, you hit them for 8 or, some big amount, and you grab 2, 3 enchantments off of them and you cast those off of Cotus. All of a sudden you're going to be drawing a card for each one of those you steal too. So this just helps you kind of build up a little bit more and more as the game goes on, and then you can refill your hand majorly on one big turn. So that is the 14 cards for under $14. Let me know what you thought of this kind of quicker version of this video in the comments below, and feel free to tell me some other great Enchantress cards that you would throw in this list, because if somebody comes to this video, I want them to be able to grab some of these cards we've talked about and also look in the comments and see other great cards that they can grab to build out the rest of their 99. It takes more than one person to build a pillow fort, so let's help each other. Tell me your favorite Enchantress card or just enchantment in the comments right here. So I will see you guys next time right here in the fort. Goodbye.